Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Welcome to Peter and Roughie's football show. Sorry, we're a wee bit late. Technology, it always gets you in the end. Darren Jackson and Roughie are here with me for the moment. Don't forget, if one of us drops, just keep talking, folks. In fact, if Tam Cowan is anything to go by, start singing something from your back catalogue. It's as simple as that, to be perfectly honest with you. Anyway, great to have you guys with us. Lots to get through. Thank you very much to the thousands and thousands of people who are joining us day by day, realising that we want to talk football, want to have a bit of a laugh as well, and want to name check as many people as we possibly can. And with that in mind as well, I've got to say, great to have people on Facebook and, of course, YouTube live, Monday to Friday at 4 o'clock, which is our normal time. Roughie and Darren are here. Here's the wee quick quiz question to get us going. I'll give you the answer at the end of the show. Well, listen, that's an easy question. Did you see that question there, Dan?
Yes, I did, yeah. I'm kind of stuff. I think I've got an idea.
Oh, I hope so. You played alongside him, for God's sake. I mean,
yeah.
I've
got it right then. I've got it right.
That's good. Listen, before we get into the meat and bones of a lot of things we're going to talk about, we're going to hear from Hearts ambassador Gary Locke, of course. I hate to use the word Hearts ambassador, that's his job now, but Hearts legend Gary Locke, of course, played for the club that he loved, supported as a boy. He'll be talking about Hearts and their current predicament, the criticism that's come the way of the owner and Budge, and of course the way forward for Hearts. So if you're a Jambo not to be missed coming up shortly, as well as answering the quiz question, we will look at the benefits of maybe Scotland not playing the semi-final playoff and then the final playoff to try and get to what would have been Euro 2020, I beg your pardon. So we'll look at the benefits that might come Steve Clarke's way, and of course some of the cons as well. There's lots of news to get our teeth into today as well. Roughie, how have you been handling today? You're looking in good fettle. Have you been out in that garden again?
Yeah, I have found a pair of hedge cutters in the garage, and a massive hedge that has grown far too much, and it gets seriously took all my anger out in the hedge, so it's not there any longer.
Yeah, listen, another thing, Roughie, I don't know if you watched it the other day there, but it's great to have Darren on. Darren, the old BBC decided to roll out the archives, 1991, the Scottish Cup final. Some people, and you might be one of these players who finds it painful to watch games where you've lost in such dramatic fashion. Have you watched it before? Did you watch it at the weekend?
No. I forgot it was. I actually forgot it was on, and I got that many text messages, and there was messages on Facebook coming through. It was incredible. So I came actually down and watched a little bit of it, but then I recorded it and I actually just watched my goal. And then I watched it to the end, and I couldn't believe that. Obviously memories that Morris had his chance at the end, and I just thought, wow. But I heard Roughie saying yesterday that I had a nightmare. I didn't really have a nightmare, Roughie. I just could not get in the game. That was my problem. I just could not really get into the game. But I suppose we all know what it's like to have nightmares in big games.
Yeah. If you'd have listened, my nightmares were over 90 minutes. Yours was only 45. For what I seen.
I still, to this day, it was a foul on Alan Main. No doubt about it, and that's why obviously
you're a bit protective of the whole thing. But am I right in thinking 4 Dundee United players get sent off after the final whistle?
Yes, yeah. Jim McInally, I think he actually threw his boot at the referee. David Bowman, and I'm sure it was Clarkey. I'm not sure it was Clarkey or Freddie, but I'm sure it was Clarkey. And I can't remember who sponsored the cup that year, but each player, the club was fined £2,000. So you can imagine what Jim McLean was like. I think he was raging about that. But yeah, so we all can't be wrong. Definitely, it was a definite foul. on the goalkeeper for winning in goal. And I'm not taking any away from Motherwell. I thought it was well, people say to you, it was a brilliant final, Dan. I broke my wrist, I lost, and I got sent off. Isn't that brilliant for me?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I would not have liked to have been in the dressing room. Although I would imagine, just on that point, Dan, was it fairly subdued because it was the tragedy of it all was Tommy and Jim had lost their dad
that week. Peter again. Obviously, it's nearly 30 years. I'm not sure if the funeral was the Thursday or the Friday before the final, and like Jim McLean sat. They were obviously, like most people, very, very close to their dad. Jim McLean sat in the dressing room before the game with his head in his hands, and you actually felt for him because it's a massive game against his brother, and for their dad to die, it was tragic. Really, what happened? Tragic when it happens anytime, but it happened in that week when they're both obviously looking forward to the final, and hopefully their dad going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. It would have been such a momentous occasion. Listen, before we hear from Gary Locke, Jambos, who join us on a regular basis, delighted that you could be here with us. Thomas McGee, hi. George as well. George, we've got the modems working. It's strange, actually, but you know what it's like? Everybody's at home. Everybody's using their technology. We are using as much of it as we can. We were hoping to have Hugh McDonald with us today, but of course, Hugh's finding it difficult to connect his Nokia 3010 from 1984, so we're in big trouble there. George Mullen, Ryan Murray, thanks Ryan for tuning in again. Always good. Jeanette McKinn, Lee Shanley, and hi from Martin Kerr, who's out there in Florida. Delighted. Tony Cassidy as well. John Watt, Michael Mullen, Danny Boyd, Gordon Plowman. There's so many people. Andy Wilson is out there in Australia as well. So that gives you an indication of how great it is to be able to chat to people near and far. Stay safe. Stay indoors and make sure you keep your hygiene at the absolute tops, by the way. We just had a wee chat there with Darren about the 1991 Scottish Cup final. The reason for that is because we're in a situation where people are wondering what to do. It's easy for Roughie because he just goes back over the reruns of Game of Thrones or anything else that has dodgy plot lines. And we have to watch great games of football. And they've been showing it on the BBC over the weekend, the 1991 Scottish Cup final, which Darren, who looked, I have to say, very young. And hi to Nicky Twig, Christopher Forsyth as well, Gaz Macca, Dougie Liddle, Gary Corr as well. Thanks, George. You always share the stream, which is really appreciated by us. And if you do share the stream, share it to your pals. Let them know we're here. We're talking football. And, of course, we'll try and read out some of your points as well. Andy Wilson wants to know, Roughie, did you trim your eyebrows when you were out trimming the bush earlier on there as well? Andy always seems to notice something about what we're wearing or what you've done.
Yeah, he's not far away, actually. I went into the bathroom this morning, had a wee look. I was looking at that. Who was the MP that had the big bushy eyebrows? Was it Jim
Dennis
Thorpe
Healy.
or something? Dennis Healy. And I got the scissors out and I said, oh, here we go. So I just started chopping away. So very, very observant at all.
Wow, that is, hey, I thought you were vain, Darren, but the big man takes the biscuit today. That's magnificent. Listen, Tam McManus, I think he's going stir crazy. I don't know if you've noticed, Tam Cowan is singing on Instagram. I mean, Tam's lost the plot, by the way. He's clearly going mental in his own house. He's singing on Instagram, and Tam McManus is now dancing to rave tunes and posting it as well. So one by one, most of the people who are on our football show are losing the plot, to be honest with you. Gary Martin Corr says, yeah, Darren, you had a nightmare in that cup final. so clearly, lots of people. Darren, he says, Hamish French. Tony Cassidy says, Hamish French, was he your partner? I think there was three of you up front that day, wasn't there?
Oh, it was Hamish and I, Bo, John O'Neill. It's hard to think who else. Badger, Billy McKinley came on as sub.
Yeah,
Ray McKinnon.
Yeah.
But it was Hamish and I up front.
Yeah, Freddie van der Hoorn. There was a name that I hadn't heard.
Yeah.
Alan Brotherson says, keep up the great work. He's in Sydney, Australia. Great to hear from you, Alan. And also Alan Boyd as well. So lots of people joining us. Listen, if you're a Jambo out there, earlier today I caught up with Gary Locke, just basically to get an insight into, this is the last day before potentially, the story was building about Hearts and Budge making these ultimatums, allegations of an ultimatum to the players that on the 31st of March she would invoke the 50% wage cut. Anybody who didn't take it was potentially getting shown the door. I think, to be fair, sometimes in the media we're guilty of sensationalism. So there was a chance to maybe get an insight from Gary Locke into what's happening at Hearts, the way ahead, and how those difficult times can affect the club. So I caught up with Gary earlier. Well, I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Hearts ambassador Gary Locke, and of course it's fair to say Hearts legend all those years ago. Gary, great to have you with us. My first question to you is the most important one. Are you fitting well?
Yes, fitting well, Pete. As I say, it's been hard work just sitting in the house every day, but I've got to do what everybody else in the world's doing at the minute and keep healthy, keep safe, so that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm delighted to hear that. First and foremost, football on lockdown, everybody's speculating, wild speculation about what's going to happen. From a personal point of view, what would you like to see as far as resolving the end of the season?
I think the longer it goes, it's going to be harder to fit. Obviously, I'd like to see the season getting finished. There's no doubt about that, because if that happens, then there isn't any argument. But I think the longer that this goes on, and then you're looking at next season, and then everything that goes with that, all the different permutations about, clubs have different contracts, players have different contracts, teams have different kit deals, all that type of stuff. So there's loads to think about. And the longer it goes, it doesn't look like we're going to play any football any earlier than sort of end of July, August. So I think the SFA and the SPFL are going to have to make a decision. Me personally, I would love, and I've cried for this for years, I'd love to see a bigger top flight. And that's not because we're bottom of the league. I just think, we play each other too many times. I think the players get a bit stale in Scotland because they play each other so many times. So I think it's an ideal opportunity to make the top flight, 16-team league, even a 14-team league, and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, we can go back to 12. But at the minute, I'd love to see us make the top flight bigger.
I'm glad you said that. I agree with you 100%, Gary. I've been bumping my gums about it for more than a few years, and especially in the last month as well. With regards to, obviously, the owner of Hearts, and Budge, she's come in for a fair bit of criticism in the way she's gone about trying to protect the club. Obviously, there's been, in her mind, a bit of misinformation with regards to dealing with the players' wages. Do you think she got it right, or do you think maybe the timing was too quick?
No, I think the boss took a big decision, but no, I think it was the right one. Anne has to look after Heart and Midlothian. She's not having to look after Hibs or Rangers or Celtic. She has to take care of Hearts. And I think if you look at it, Pete, over the next couple of weeks, I see Newcastle and Tottenham have announced cuts today. Every club in the world is going to have to bring in wage cuts. I think that it's the only way forward for everybody at the minute, because we do not know when we're going to start playing football again, and when we've not got any income coming in, obviously cuts are going to have to take place. And the thing that the boss has looked at is she wants to try and keep all the full-time staff there after we come out of this, and I think that this was the only way forward.
Yeah, and bearing that in mind, a lot of people will look and say she's been unfairly treated on this one. She's saying that it's going to be 6 months of pay, not only for Hearts, but for everyone. The cut-off date where players obviously had to respond was the 31st of March, which, of course, is today. What's the response been like? Are you privy to what the response has been like from players? Are they keen to do exactly what Stephen Naismith announced early?
No, I'm actually not privy to that, because obviously we're all self-isolating. I've not really spoke to any of the players, so I don't know what they're thinking. Obviously, I've been in both camps. I've been a player myself, and I've been part of a coaching staff and a manager, and now I'm obviously on the other side of it. But I think, what the boss is trying to do is try to look after every single person at Hearts. You've obviously got to look after the first team players, but we've also got academy players, we've got the academy staff, you've got the staff that work for the club. So, we've got to look at the bigger picture and try and, look out for everybody that works at the club, because everybody, does a fantastic job. And I think that's what the boss has looked at. She's looked at the whole club and the bigger picture. And if, we can accept kind of half salary at the moment, then hopefully by the time we start back, everybody that's done that will still remain at the club.
Just going back to your first point, Gary, a lot of people are looking for clarity on the situation sooner rather than later. We had Stillian Petrov on yesterday saying, look, everybody needs to calm down, not make any rash decisions. But if a ball isn't kicked and the SPFL have to make a call, somebody's going to have to get relegated if they don't expand this league. Anne says she might take legal action on it, but it could turn quite nasty. It could disrupt the whole of the SPFL if Hearts were to be relegated. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, without a doubt. I think I touched on it the other day. If we were 24 points adrift at the bottom of the league and they decided, today, right, Hearts go down and Celtic win the league, then I don't think you could have any complaints. But the fact is, we're only 4 points behind with 24 points to play for. So, for me, it's like, how can you relegate us in terms of that? If we're not going to finish the season. And that's where I think we should try and make a logical decision, which, the German league's done it in terms of they've brought 2 teams up. Everything else kind of just remains the same. And then after the end of this season, I think they're talking about relegating 3 teams. So I think that'd be the fairest thing. I think it'd be the fairest thing for everyone involved with Scottish football, because, you're not really upsetting anyone. Celtic are top of the league. If you gave them the title right now, I don't think anybody could complain because they're so far ahead. And if you brought a couple of teams up for the Championship, I'm sure Dundee United and Inverness would be happy with that. And then ourselves and one of the teams that are fighting at the bottom of the league at the moment, we'd be reasonably happy as well, I'd imagine. So I think the logical thing would be to make it a bigger league. But obviously I'm not in charge of Scottish football. I don't know what they're going to do. But if we were to get relegated, certainly wouldn't be happy about that.
Another point that everybody's digesting, if Anne is right and we'll get 6 months of pain ahead, even when we're starting to kick a ball again, there is a fear, even at Premiership level, Gary, that some clubs could go out of business. Do you share that view?
Yeah, I just think when you look at Tottenham Hotspur and Newcastle today, and you look at the money that's involved in the game down in England, and they're announcing cuts to their staff and players having to take possibly wage reductions, I think that should set alarm bells ringing for everyone. And I take my hat off to the boss, not just because I get on well with Anne and I've got a great relationship with her, but she's seen this coming long before everyone else, and she's moved first. And I think it's inevitable that you'll see a lot of clubs in the next couple of weeks who will do something very, very similar, because what their aim is here is to try and look after everyone that's at the club and try and make sure that everybody remains in a job. And I take my hat off to all the owners of clubs that do that.
Anne Budge has said to the likes of Barnsley owner Paul Conway, Hearts are not for sale. So clearly, I've spoken to her on a number of occasions, and I know she has the club at heart as well. Do you think with her still guiding this ship that Hearts will be able to survive the stormy waters?
Yeah, without a doubt. I wouldn't want anyone else in charge. I'm not just saying that. Obviously, I was here the last time when we went into administration, and the club looked like it wasn't going to be here. And it was Anne that took over the club and moved it in the direction that it is. For me, I've been heavily involved at Hearts. I see everything that goes on behind the scenes at Hearts, and I'd argue that we are one of the best run clubs in the country. The way that Anne runs it. Certainly, obviously on the football side, we've struggled this season, and there's I'm not making any excuses for that, but we need to do better. But in terms of the business side and the infrastructure we've got at Hearts, it's up there with the top clubs in Scotland. So, I wouldn't want anybody else in charge of Hearts, certainly not, because Anne does a terrific job.
Gary, I couldn't have put it better myself. I know what you're like. Sunny in Edinburgh outside. You'll be itching to get out there, but I advise you right now, just stay in there, keep doing the press-ups, and hopefully with a bit of luck, I'll be doing it at Tynecastle with you soon.
Yeah, I hope so, Pete. You know, it's as I say, it's a nightmare for us all, and it's typical. You know, anytime we get a bit of sunny weather, we've now got to sit in the living room and look at it rather than get outside. But that's just the way it is. As I say, the main thing is that everybody stays safe, and you know, it's credit to all the people at the NHS and you know everybody that's working ever so hard to make sure everybody stays alive. You know, take my hat off to them, and I can't thank them enough.
Couldn't have put it better myself, Locke. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers, bud.
And Gary Locke, I thought he fought back well there because they've taken a bit of stick, Darren, over the last couple of weeks, and Budge, but everybody is following suit. Some club, I mean, Frank McDougall said in the paper this morning, he thinks some top club could fold because the money's not there, and it doesn't look as if there's any sight of football in the next 2-3 months.
100%, Peter. Yeah, and I'm a big Budge fan as well. I think she's done a marvellous job there, and she has probably said it quicker than probably other people. She's noticed what's going to happen, and she's told the players that they need to take it. It's hard taking pay cuts when you've signed a contract and all that, but it is to safeguard the club, and it's looking as though more clubs are going to follow in the next month, and it's tragic. It's tragic, but Lockie knows her better. You'll not get a guy who's more passionate about his club, as you said, Peter. Played for them, captained them, and managed them, and it'll be breaking his heart what's happening, but he can see what's happening in the background and what's best for the club going forward.
Roughie, he's not alone. Everybody was talking about it. We were mentioning the fact that Celtic might be in a positive situation because they've got money in the bank. You only have to look at their accounts to see that. But the one thing that Peter Lawwell, the chief executive, and obviously Dermot Desmond and the rest of the board will be looking at is what Neil Lennon had to say over the last 24 hours, which is quite simply Celtic will be looking to make cuts, whether it's wage deferrals, whether it's a percentage cut on everybody's wages. Because if Barcelona are doing it, Celtic are going to definitely do it as well. Everybody knows when there's no money coming in, you have to somehow balance the books.
Yeah, you're right. It's okay as sitting here saying, yeah, Celtic have got 30 million in the bank, but they got 30 million in the bank because they've run their company properly, and they won't want to see that 30 million dwindle away, so they will be like everybody else. They've probably got a higher wage bill than everybody else, so it's going to hit even harder. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it in the next couple of weeks that the Celtic team start taking a cut in wages.
Yeah, and Aberdeen in negotiations were led to believe now on that, Darren. So clearly Derek McInnes, listening to what Dave Cormack has to say, they know there's going to be a £5 million hole there. So let's start to limit what you're paying out to everyone up there at Aberdeen as well.
100%, Peter. It's all relevant to your revenue that you bring in, your wage bill. And I would imagine Aberdeen have a good sized wage bill, so everyone's going to be. It's going to. I think every single day in the papers, another club's going to come out and saying we're in discussions with the players, and I think, as I say, by the next 3 or 4 weeks, I think most clubs, maybe every club, will have been in discussions for the players to take wage cuts to try and save everybody at the club, Peter, to try and save the staff. Who obviously it's the players who go out and play and bring in the money, but it's the staff in the background who do wonderful work, and it's to try and save as many jobs as you can.
Well said, because I think that gets lost sometimes in the the stars that play on the park and the strips that they wear. They get caught up in that and they forget that there are some wonderful people in the background doing a great job as well. James Cartry says, "Hi Roughie, I bet your kitchen is lovely." So see, people are speculating, Roughie. Once they see one little bit of your house, they think, "Oh, I bet he's got a big kitchen as well." And he's been out cutting the hedges, showing off that he's got hedges in the first place. May I add, Darren, because there's not too many hedges out where I'm living, I have to tell you. Also, it says, keep up the great work. That's in Sydney. Alan, great to hear from you. Alan Boyd as well. And also, Sean McLaughlin joins us. Dougie Little as well. Darren, who's the best player you played with and against, says Dougie?
Gascoigne. Both.
Well, there you go. That nailed it. Hi to... Yeah, he was good. You played with a lot of good players. In fact, I saw an even younger photograph of you at Newcastle, which a lot of people, forget about the fact that you've played with Newcastle as well. So many clubs that Darren has played with has fallen on hard times. Anyway, while he was
Peter.
Thomas Marshall, hi to you. Hi to Alistair McDermott from Randallstown. Have you heard of that, Roughie, Randallstown?
No, it sounded a wee bit like one of the places that the Killers sing about. And that was Jamestown, wasn't it? It just rang a bell with the Killers there. So probably an American town.
That's great. Yeah, and the funny thing is, people think, wow, Roughie knows the Killers. Wow. Gabriella Welsh, sorry. Love the chat. William Wright says, this show keeps me sane in Canada, no less. Great to have you from Canada. Andrew Ripley watching for the first time. Keep up the great work. Hopefully Hearts fans who have joined us there, enjoyed that little chat from Gary Locke, certainly defending the cause from the Jam Tarts point of view, because sometimes you can look at a story and you've got to look at it from a two-way street, try and get a bit of balance on it. So I think Lockie was able to fight back on behalf of Hearts. Also, Darren Jackson, do you think you got a fair shake of the stick at Celtic, says James Cartry?
Well, I could say no, Peter, because I didn't play as much, but I had to go out obviously for my brain operation, and then by the time I came back, Vim had these 11 players that were, if they were fit, they played. It didn't matter what form they were in, they played. And there was times, yes, when I threw the toys out the pram and I wasn't happy that I wasn't playing. But at the end of the day, he won the league, so he was proven right about picking the team. But yes, I could probably say I deserved more games, but I was just happy that at the end of the day we won the league.
Yeah, you got a medal, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I played enough games. I played 20 odd games that season. So yeah, I played enough games. Yeah.
Okay, shut up, stop.
I was just going to ask him, who do you think you should have been in instead of?
Well, it was always between Harold. It was always between Harold and I, Roughie, because Henrik was always going to play. So it was between Harold and I. And listen, Harold he's a top boy, great boy, and he was a goal scorer. But he went off the boil at times, and I felt I went on at times and did very well, and I thought I deserved to play the next game. But as I say, as a manager, you make decisions, and I've been in the management side there, and people probably wouldn't have been happy when I was on a management team that they weren't playing. So you just have to pick what you see you think's right.
Good call, Darren. James Shields, Peter Tierney, all joining us. Peter Tierney says, I remember Darren scoring at McDermott Park and Henrik scored his first goal for Celtic, and the rest, as they say, is history. Terry Lamptey, William Mitchell also joining us as well, and lots of people giving us their thoughts. The only thing I'm looking at is, quite a lot of people talking about the not happy with the potential for an expanded league. The product will be poor. I don't buy into that. I don't think the product will be poor at all, Dan. I think Dundee United would enhance the league. I think you can still have your 4 Old Firm games if that's the obsession that everybody is wanting. But you can split the league. But I still think... I think even European football might be looking at that as well. We're going to talk about that a little later on. I'm going to try and read as many of them as possible. James Thompson says, extending the league is a brilliant idea. The only thing that could disadvantage some clubs are their grounds that must meet a certain criteria, or have most clubs updated their stadium? Well, quite a lot of clubs, I think, would be able to get in no problem. A couple of things I want to get your thoughts on, lads, and get the thoughts of everybody here. Some of the news things that have come up, Celtic and Rangers have been fined by UEFA over the behaviour of their supporters. So they've got a few fines that they've got to pay, Roughie. I imagine they'll be paying them in instalments over the next year, to be perfectly honest with you, because that's the way the world is going at the moment. Who cares if you got the fines? You get a fair bit of time to pay them.
Yeah, I'm sure both clubs have identified UEFA for a deferment there, maybe paid in 6 months. But on a serious note, you wish some of these fans would just get a grip, if they can see that they're costing their clubs, every time they go into a European tie. The worse it gets, the worse it will become. And they really, really need to start screwing ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you, Roughie. I mean, the amount of times I think over the course of the last year that we've read out, fines for banners, fines for, well, there's a strange one here. Celtic were fined €15,000. Neil Lennon warned about his conduct. And also, I think that was about the timing of the kickoff against Copenhagen, I'm looking at, was one of the reasons that they were pulled up, Celtic. And Neil Lennon, obviously, the club and manager were separately being called up for a late kickoff in that match against Copenhagen. So, it just shows you everything's got to be timed to precision. And banners, one big advertising board that was too big, would you believe they get fined for that as well? These are crazy times when you go into European competition, but you've got to obey the rules. So anyway, Rangers and Celtic picked up fines.
But were Man United not fined for being late one time? Their bus they're only round the corner, they're only travelling a mile. And the bus got cut on all the traffic, and Jose Mourinho got off the bus and he just walked round in amongst the crowd, and they got fined for the late kick-off.
Yeah, I seem to remember that as well, Darren. So that's all about UEFA. A couple of things I want to pick up on. The Jim McCall interview, obviously it was featured in the Daily Record. Now, I think sometimes there can be a land of false hope when you get some stories. Graham Souness wants to be on the board. Barry Ferguson, I think, knows Douglas Park well, is quite happy that he's at the helm. I think Douglas Park, Roughie, will want to bring in his own team. But this story about Jim McCall, looking to invest in Rangers, he's already said and quoted here saying, I'm involved with a number of investments as part of my discussions with other potential investors, but the matter of Rangers was raised. And he says, I was told that if I was ever interested in investing in Rangers, to let these other people know. It's not a live issue just now, but that's not to say it couldn't become one in the future. That doesn't mean it's something for the long term either. It could be something that comes up in the medium term. Now, dare I say it, Jim McCall, millions and millions of pounds, but I don't think too many people, unless they're picking up a club absolutely on its knees with, no debt, they're not taking on debt, Roughie, unless somebody can walk in and take the carcass of a club again. I think, I don't think Jim McCall is there at the moment to take up Rangers in its current status. Do you?
No, I thought it was, again, not a throwaway line, but a line that was picked up and obviously grown arms and legs and it's made a very, very good story. But I think if Jim McCall was as passionate as what he said he is, he would be at Rangers already. He's got enough money to have done what everybody else has done up until now. I'm sure that they would like some kind of investment. It'd be interesting to see if the new board go to him and say, look, we're happy to have read what we've read. How much are you prepared to put in? Because they are going to need investors. I think Dave King said there was a movement on that and it's been very, very quiet. So I think somebody of that stature was to say, right, put me on board here. I want to help the club. But there's so much happened to Rangers in the last 4 or 5 years. I would have thought he would have been the ideal person to come in with the vast sums of money he's got to put everything straight. And he didn't do it. He obviously had a few meetings with boards to remove Charles Green, which was very positive. But on the money side of it, he could have blown everybody out the water, and he hasn't done it.
Yeah. Now, going forward, though, Douglas Park will undoubtedly be calling on more than a few friends because, Darren, if Celtic are saying they're going to make cuts, I expect Rangers to announce the same type of offer to the players as well, to take wage cuts and deferrals and the staff to try and draw in their horns to keep the ship going in the right direction.
100%, Peter. You read things, obviously, in the paper and you try and take in the good bits and what you can believe. And I'm not just saying this because he's on the show, but I listen to Barry. If Barry says that Douglas Park's the right guy, everyone's business is suffering just now, and obviously Douglas Park's business will be suffering just now. But as Barry said, he knows obviously Douglas well. He knows his intentions, he knows his love for Rangers, and I don't think he would be taking it on if he didn't have enough money to try and improve things at Ibrox. So, as I say, I listened to Barry, and I think Barry knows what he's talking about when it comes to Rangers.
Yeah, Andy Wilson. Here's one, Roughie, that certainly caught me by surprise. Andy Wilson, who listens from Australia, says, does teams here in Australia in the A-League are up in arms. Perth Glory, for one, have let all their players go with zero pay. Other teams are following suit. That's Can you imagine they announced that in Scotland? There'd be a riot.
Yeah, I think Fraser Wishop would be going pulling his hair out if he heard anything like that. But no, the union's there to protect players' contracts, and that's the reason why we all sign contracts. You would like to think they'd be honoured, but as I said numerous occasions, there are some clubs better off than others and have budgeted for something like this. I don't know the situation over in Australia. I don't know if there is a loophole there, but certainly it would be an absolutely hysteria if that was to happen here, because people's livelihoods are at stake, and we just have to try and deal with it accordingly.
Stephen McNamara says, Peter, you said Tam Cowan has been singing and he's lost it. He lost it long before now, yeah, but it's just crazy. I think you need to have that element in you where you want to do something and then post it on social media. I kid you not, I started looking at it, Roughie, and I thought, he has completely lost the plot now. When you start looking into your camera and start singing songs, there's something seriously wrong. And then last night, I spotted McManus at his absolute worst, dancing about to a rave song, and I thought, he's gone as well. I can tell you right now, Roughie, even if I'm going mental, it's not happening. There's no danger. I mean, it's just, I don't know about yourself, Roughie, would you suddenly think, I think I'll post me singing a song on social media?
No, I'm not a karaoke person. I can't sing. I hold my hands up to that one. I love watching people doing a bit of karaoke, people who can sing. But I think everybody has to keep going and keep doing whatever they feel like. I might actually get Maggie in the dining room here and play us a wee tune of the piano one day while we're on air.
Yeah, that would be absolutely fantastic, by the way. I would suggest to you, Roughie, you might need two of Maggie's favourite bottles of wine before that happens. In fact, Roughie, I am actually sitting in the room where we had a party where you and Maggie were sitting, and Maggie decided just to get up and dance in the middle of it. I don't know if you remember that party, Roughie. It was absolutely magnificent.
Yeah, I remember that clearly. I think that was just after she'd had an hour's sleep before she jumped off the seat and caught up with what she had missed in the past hour.
Exactly. And the funny thing, I'm gutted, Darren, you missed this party, but Barry was here. Barry and his wife came along to a house party we had, so I had to go and put up 2 Rangers strips on the wall, his Rangers strips, just to keep him happy, I had to take a couple down and put them up as if they'd been there forever, just to make him feel at home. Just to make him feel at home. He was absolutely, delighted. Rangers are the only team with money, says James Ingram. That's just an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion on this. Only team still in Europe, says Robert Forsyth. And of course, the other thing about it is, remember, when we're actually reading out some of your messages on Facebook and YouTube, the one great thing is most of the people who come on like to put across some really good points, and we value your opinion because you're all football fans. You do get the odd nutcase who comes on and posts some madness and then starts arguing with somebody else on Facebook that's not connected to the show, which is Roughie, you're not on Twitter, but that's what happens. Wants to beat him. It's absolutely crazy. How did Celtic get a fine of 15 grand for a game starting late when Rangers get a 5 grand fine for a bottle coming onto the park? At strange times, listen, I couldn't even begin to tell you the way UEFA works. Does Darren remember playing for Newcastle United in a friendly in 1987 versus Peterborough when Gascoigne and Mirandinha were fighting as Mirandinha wouldn't pass the ball? This is Scott Weir asking. What happened there, Daz?
Actually, Gaza, usually the two of them needed the ball each. Gaza went on a run and, apologise, Peter. Mirandinha went on a run and Gaza was in the clear to pass to him, and Mirandinha had a shot, and so Gaza flipped and had a go at him and ran back the pitch to the midfield, and as he turned round, Maradona was standing right in front of him and just slapped him right in the face. But the two of them were mad together on the pitch, because, as I say, the two of them like to go and do their own, unbelievable players, like to go and do their own solo stuff, but they fell out with each other quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm reading things, Roughie, every day, trying to soak up as much of the stuff as possible so that we can chat about it. Listen, UEFA are having a meeting on Wednesday, a video conference call with all 55 member countries that play football in UEFA competition. So undoubtedly something will come of that to see if there's any kind of way forward, because it's certainly looking highly unlikely that we're going to get any games played before the summer. They're talking about Rangers even playing the second leg of the game against Bayer Leverkusen in September of this year. I mean, that would just drive me, raving bonkers trying to work out where the competitions are. Some have suggested that we could open up this season, if it's August, with the Scottish Cup as the opening fanfare for everyone to get the Scottish Cup resolved. I wouldn't mind that, Roughie. The Scottish Cup winner in the opening month of August.
Yeah, it's a great idea. We see it down in England with the Charity Shield, and everybody gets behind the start of the season. Again, it would be when, and obviously not where, it'd be Hampden, but it's when, and that's the big debating point for everybody. Everybody, every time I pick up a paper, somebody's saying the end of April, somebody's saying the end of June, somebody's saying the end of July, somebody's saying August. I don't think we know where we are, but it would be great if we had some positive news from somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, here's a positive spin. I know, Dan, you like the international stuff. We were looking at it wondering what might the benefits be from Scotland not having to play the playoff semi-final and possibly the playoff final coming up shortly. If it's delayed even longer, here's what might be a benefit to Steve Clarke. Yeah, look at all those players, Darren. You see, we could have more than a few players. Man, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Peter, I've actually been thinking over the last couple of days that we obviously wanted the game played. We wanted Euro 2020 taking part, but there is benefits. Can we get Tierney back? Can we get McKenna back? Can we get McGinn back? McTominay. Now, not everybody's going to be match fit, so they're not going to be. Everybody's going to be in the same boat. But can we get them back? Shooter back, and obviously by that time you've got Griffiths as well. So it can only enhance, without doubt, the squad and the team, and give us a better chance to obviously try and get to this tournament that's eluded us for too long.
Yeah, Roughie, here's the lineup that could have played in the playoff there. Just possibly, maybe Griffiths could have forced his way in, but Marshall, Palmer, Gallagher, Cooper and Robertson, McTominay, McGregor, Armstrong, Christie, Naismith and Forrest. That could have been as close to the predicted 11 for the games had we been able to play them. Roughie, have a wee look at what potentially be the lineup next year. Look at Darren licking his lips. Look at that team. Roughie, what do you make of that? Palmer, McKenna, Tierney, Robertson, McTominay, Gilmour, McGinn, Christie, Griffiths and Forrest.
Well, Gilmour's a big one, isn't it? We're all expecting him to come back into that Chelsea side and obviously set the heather on fire. He would be a massive bonus if it was 9 months down the road. But no, that team's looking a wee bit better than where we were, and I don't know if they're sitting doing this in Israel as well, because they were going to be 4 players missing for this game, 4 big players. So let's hope that's not the case. It's going to strengthen them as well.
Yeah. Just before we go, lad, lots of people. Andrew Jenkins. Yeah.
Can I just say that about that team there? I think it's a strong team. I can't believe Callum McGregor wasn't in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was Gabriel. I'll have to have a word with him, Darren.
And listen, because I work for Blackpool, I've been watching a game today, and it was Chelsea under 23s.
Yeah.
Gilmore was absolutely sensational in it. It was incredible. I mean, he's just, the young kid's just got it, and it'll not be long before he's definitely in.
Yeah. Okay. Couple of quick things to finish with, and I think this is a really nice story to finish with. Andrew Jenkins says, "I mind 7-0 for Rangers against Hibs at Ibrox." Jacko, do you mind that? I'm almost certain.
I'll try and put a positive on it, Peter. We lost 7-0 at Ibrox, and it was midweek, and then we played at the weekend. We played Hearts at home, and Hearts scored after 3 minutes, and we beat them 2-1. So yes, I remember the 7-0 game. I think that I could be wrong, but I think that was the game Gaza booked a referee, and he took the card off and booked him.
Yeah, it was actually. And the funny thing is, I hope we're not starting a campaign here to highlight all the games that you've been battered in, Darren. That's just that's a programme in its own. Anyway, so I don't know if you read it this morning, and we've managed to. I caught up with this guy, he's one of the friends of the show, Roughie. He's been on it more than a few times. But there was a lovely story today. And basically, Stephen Dobie's wife, Suzanne, had contracted coronavirus. So there was a worry there. He's got 2 lovely kids, Jack and Max. And I think the boys were worried about their mum. Their mum's okay, which is great. She's on the mend. And Stephen himself was wondering, can we do something? Can we raise money? And basically the 2 boys said, Dad, why don't we try and raise money by shaving our heads and see if we can get some money on, on a Just type page, a Virgin Money type page. Roughie, what are you laughing at, Roughie?
Just stop it. Stop there. Because I know where you're going here. Just stop. And Darren knows where you're going as well.
By the way, Peter, I shaved Jacob's head last night.
Yeah, well, can I just say something to you? Don't worry. I am not going to ask you to shave your head. All I'm going to say to you guys is I caught up with Stephen Dobie and his 2 boys earlier to get the inside track on this. I think we'll come back to it. I thought we had.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the
I can imagine.
You and the boys have decided to come up with a great plan to help people, obviously, with the coronavirus taking a real hold on the country. What have the boys come up with as a plan to raise money?
My mum and dad told me what's going on around the world, so we asked what can we do to help from home. And this is what we've come up with. So
I imagine you 2 are going to shave your heads and you're going to shave your dad's head as well. So we're talking about 3 skinheads in the family. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah. And this one's not too excited about getting all his hair. Loves to push it to the side, but it's I've talked him down to it's a good for a good charity.
Now, I have to ask you, boys, are you slightly worried about what your mates are going to say when you've got a skinhead? It's a great gesture, but are you a wee bit worried about how you're going to look?
Yeah.
No. Your hair the thing is, Peter, I think their hair will actually grow back the right way.
Listen, I think it's a fantastic gesture. Now, what I'm going to say to you is, how much money have you raised so far, and how can people actually put money towards this campaign?
How much have we raised?
Just under 1,600 with gift aid.
Yeah, we're just under 3,600 with gift aid. It's on, how can people get to it? It's on Virgin Money. So it's been absolutely amazing. I mean, obviously at this time, everybody's at home, and a lot of people not in the response for friends and family, and we've been getting donations from Queen of the South fans, from America, and it's been absolutely amazing. So the thing is, we're not really doing much. It's obviously, hopefully, the money will go to people in need.
Well, listen, I've got to say, well done to you, the 2 boys, Jack and Max. Fantastic. Great to know that Suzanne, your wife, is back fitting well, but I've got to ask you, Stephen. Obviously, we want to see the evidence at the end of it. When can they see the video, and where can they see it when you have your head shaved?
All right, yeah. It'll be a week today. The 7th of April. We'll be filming it, sticking it on. My wife will put it on all the social medias, and we'll send it to the club, and they can stick it on. And we're looking forward to it, aren't we?
Yeah. I'm not. I don't like shaving my head. Well, not my head, my hair. Well,
Stephen,
you have to do it.
Congratulations to you, to the boys, even though one of them doesn't seem too keen to do it.
Class.
And best wishes to your wife and all your family as well. Thanks for joining us. I was wondering if I could rely on the other two guys actually finish the show. I'm not sure I can, unless Darren is still me.
Roughie's frozen now.
Dobie.
Sorry?
One of those ones where I hope people can still see us. Darren, are you still there as well?
I'm still here, yes.
Yeah, I think. Now the good news is you and the boys have decided to come for that. It's technology that's beaten us in the end.
Expect the best used car deals guaranteed. Visit arnoldclark.com.
Yeah.